Now, if you haven't seen the surprises of the year video, this location may seem a little weird. Basically, this was gonna be my original filming location. It was in the original alphabet reading vlog. You know, we don't need to talk about that. But things changed, and so filming locations had changed. But that's fine, because I figured out how to film with my phone here. Now, I did conveniently check right before I clicked record, when this comes out. And so this is the second out of 3 end of the year videos. The first one was one recommended to me by Helen, where I talk about my most surprising books of the year, both good and bad. I do it by genre. That's up above in the cards, because I don't want to put it in the description. And the next one will be the 23 books in 2023. I already have that list made. It's already recorded. But this is filmed the same day as the surprise one. So that's why. And for people who have seen that one, it is many, many hours later. The internet came back, don't worry. And of course, when the internet came back and I was finally ready to film, the poll that decided which video to do for this, hear me out, is a tie. I took a screenshot of it and it's up right now. So, hear me out. For the longest time, the favorites one was ahead. Like, for a very, very long time. For most of the time. There was a bit in the very beginning when all 3 of them just had 1 vote. But since then, favorites has been ahead until just like an hour ago, at most, when the doing both in one kind of tied with it. But hear me out. Since the favorites one has been ahead this whole time, and either way favorites is gonna be in it, I'm just gonna do my favorites. Okay, hear me out. I'm too tired. I'm too tired. Today has taken all the energy left from me. Okay, hear me out. So yeah, I'm doing all my favorites. It felt like, if you want to see my disappointments, I did talk a lot about those in general on the surprise one, like a few of them. Okay, I'm gonna try to do a list of 5 really fast. I'm not even gonna put up book covers. I could, like, a few of them I own physically, and they are on this pile. We don't need to talk about how I'm wearing pajama pants with a skirt. You didn't see that. They're on this pile over here of books that I physically own that I'm unhauling. Some of them are. I could grab them and I could show them, or I could put up book covers. I'm not gonna put that much effort in, fam. This is gonna be like 1 minute to try to list 5, maybe 6, okay? And I'm gonna tell you now, most of them are gonna be mystery thrillers, okay? Where the Crawdads Sing, The Unhoneymooners, Rock, Paper, Scissors, People Like Her, The Last Time I Lied, Helter Skelter. I did it. I did it in 6. I forgot about Helter Skelter until right then. I did it, fam. Also, I just made my second cup of coffee. Is it 3 p.m? Yes. We don't need to talk about it. But you know, that's fine. So, I guess those are my 6 biggest disappointments, because those are the first ones that came in my head. You're welcome. Now I'm gonna actually tell you my 10 favorites. 4 of which I actually physically own. I love that for me. One of them I'd wanna own physically, but we don't need to talk about that. A good chunk of these are kind of surprising. Hear me out. The first 4 are 5 stars, and the rest of them are 4.5 stars. I realized that I rarely rate things 5 stars. We don't need to talk about it. But this was like really easy to make this list. I did make it last night because I knew that either doing both in one or the favorites was gonna win the poll. So either way, I would need a favorites list, right? So I did that last night when I was making the one for the surprise. And yeah, it was pretty easy. One, because I have a favorites shelf on Goodreads and Storygraph, so I just went through in order of most recently read and chose ones starting with 5 stars and then 4.5 stars. Chose those that aren't rereads. There are no rereads on this. If it was, It'd be a little more complicated because Vampire Academy and Percy Jackson and Lord Thalassa, the Four Horsemen series, but thankfully we don't have to worry about that. I also monthly do this graphic, two graphics actually, on Instagram to show off my favorites. The first one, you can see now, is one where I put in my book covers. I haven't been using this one as long. I want to say maybe since August. Hear me out. Of course, you will not see December plugged in these because it is December 10th. I'm filming ahead of time because sometimes that's what you need to do. Hear me out. Hear me out. And then I also, for the longer amount of time, I want to say since the spring, I've been doing this one that is very clean, and I mean, you can see it. It's brackets and very clean, and it like does a competitor see which one's gonna win. Currently Legendborn is winning. I don't know what it's going to be for December, of course. Hear me out. But I'm willing to bet money Legendborn wins. Also, noted for H, the Unbecoming of My Diary is not going to be second to last round to go against Legendborn, because I will have defeated it if it does defeat whatever December is. So, but yes, between those and also my favorites, it was very easy. I basically went through and did the 5-star ones first, and then plugged in the 4.5 stars, and one or two of these I wasn't gonna put in. Like, I was willing to move out if there were other ones I'd rather put in. But no, it worked out to perfectly be 10. We love that for me. You will notice that some of these are not gonna be as same ones in the graphics, like the Love Hypothesis. Listen, I rated it 4 stars. It's not gonna be in here. I just had a bad reading month. That short story that also is written by Ali Hazelwood, same thing. Like, sometimes I have bad reading months, okay? And then my last little thing, some of these may have been read for a reading vlog, so if it is read in a reading vlog, I'll mention it. And as a reading vlog comes up, I'll put them up above in the cards, so you can check those all out if you want to know. I should set down the coffee because the first one's a physical book. The first one, hear me out. Are we surprised by her? No. No. We all should have known. We all should have known. Okay, hear me out. We all know I love her. Yeah, it's Legendborn. I am very happy I own it. I'm kind of sad I wasn't able to get the Fairy Loot edition, but you know, it's fine. I think it's still labeled as 4.5 stars on Goodreads. I really should change that. It's definitely a 5-star. Like, hear me out. I did start a reread at one point this year, but I stopped because, hear me out, I didn't start annotating it until a good chunk into the book. Like, I want to say like 50 pages in is when I really started to annotate it, or something like that. So like, but I know some stuff in the first part that I would have annotated if I was annotating by that point, right? So, one, I want to do that, but two, I want to redo the annotations. Currently, I have them in, of course, I open up to a page that isn't highlighted. Okay, like you can kind of tell, I highlighted them, but hear me out. It's a erasable highlighter. I tend to do that for books when I'm annotating them. And also, I found these erasable pens on Amazon, and I want to try them out. And so one day maybe I'll get them. And when I do that, I will go in and not only do a reread, but also re-annotation and redo all the annotating that I have in here. I'll keep all like the sticky notes I have. Like, at the end of every part, I have a big giant sticky note with, oh, see, here's a better page I could have shown. What the heck? There we go. At the end of every part, I have like these long line sticky notes that I have like thoughts about the previous part that I wrote as I was reading and then put on in the book. I have to go turn off the fridge again because I'm smart. But yes, like, I went ham on the annotation, so I want to go through and redo that. And that's why I stopped rereading it, because I was rereading it to read Bloodmarked, but then I was like, why would I do that when I would then have to also redo the annotations for Bloodmarked, right? But yeah, this was kind of a favorite, and also in the alphabet reading vlog that we don't need to talk about her. But yeah. And also, she's not even like the first one that's Arthurian. Well, she is the first one that's Arthurian, but she's not the only one that's Arthurian retelling on this list. Okay, hear me out. Hear me out. Now, in a completely different direction, we have A Week to Be Wicked by Tessa Dare. Okay, hear me out. How many times can I say hear me out in this video? Yeah, I don't know what to say. This is now the romance book I compare every other romance book to. If it does not make me as happy as this book made me, it's not a 5-star. Like, it was so good. Like, it was so good. It was the perfect balance of humor, banter, comedy, but also seriousness. Like, I think there was stuff about body image and how you see yourself, how men treat you based off of your beauty, grief, childhood trauma, handling your trauma, that type of stuff. Like, there was a whole bunch of stuff where, like, the main male character, his family died when he was a kid in a carriage accident, and I'm pretty sure he was there or something, and the reason why he is known as a womanizer or a rake is because he cannot sleep alone. Like, if he sleeps alone, he has nightmares about it, so therefore he always in a bed with a woman to counteract that. And let's just say Minerva's there for him. Also, they flirt with math terminology and it's beautiful. Okay, I love it. Okay. I want to reread it so bad. Maybe I'll reread it this month. I shouldn't, but I want to. Like, hear me out. You know it's good when the fact that characters saying binomial to each other makes you giddy and happy on the inside, okay? That's how you know it's a good romance. Anyways, it's kind of like the best romance I've read ever. The only one I can compare it to is Beach Read. So this is like my favorite historical romance. And I love it. And we're moving on. And then we're gonna go on to one that was very, very recently. Like, I read at the end of November. It is beginning of December. Like, it was very recent. And that was Iron Widow. I read it for the Orange Monochromatic Reading Vlog. Rated it 5 stars. I don't know what I was expecting from it, but like, yeah, it was good. I really like it. Also, every time I read a love triangle now, it's forever gonna be ruined for me unless if it ends up being a throuple. Okay, hear me out. Hear me out. But yeah, the conversation about treatments of women in this society, how they are just used and discarded, because the idea that a woman being more powerful than a man is so scary to all these men in power that they quite literally have to kill them off in order to, like, make themselves feel better. And the anger that, when you as the reader feel about this, but the main character feels about this, is just, yeah, no, it's a good time. But yeah, I really liked it. And then we have a nonfiction, don't need to question it, which is My Body by Emily, whose last name I'm not going to pronounce because I won't be able to. She used to be a model. And this book is a bunch of essays, basically, about the treatment of her by usually men in the world, in the industry in general, since becoming a model. Some before becoming a model, how just being beautiful, men would treat her differently, and take as, because she's beautiful, they have a right to her body. And, but also, like, a good chunk of it is during and after her time being a model, and how, because she makes her income off of how she looks, men people in general, but specifically men, very much think they have a right to her body and can sell pictures of her without her like without her consent. That was the one, oof, made me angry. I cried, I was angry. She narrates it herself. If you read it, I say go with the audiobook. She narrates it herself, and at one point she's like on the verge of crying telling this one story, and oh, it was impactful, fam. It was impactful. I didn't even know who she was before I read this book. Like, it was just a nonfiction book that was short and available at my library, okay? Like, it's really quick. And also, like, I didn't know it was started because she wrote an essay for, like, or an article for a magazine or newspaper or something. I don't know. She wrote an essay and published just that essay, and that started the publication of this book that is just a bunch of these essays. And, oof, it is some good soup. And I highly recommend. I will forever question how a nonfiction one a month, but you know, we don't need to talk about it. And then we go into the one, we're down to the 4.5 stars. The rest of these are 4.5 stars. We go to the one that I wanted to physically own. I specifically wanted the book of the month edition because I liked the mint green look. I'm not even a green person or a mint green person, but the mint green look was so my thing. Like, I prefer pink. My favorite color is pink. But I wanted the mint green from the book of the month edition because it would have just looked nicer, and it would have looked so much different from the rest of the books on my shelves. I was 100% down for it. And as soon as I went to buy it, Book of the Month had a bunch of issues on their website, and it basically crashed. And by the time I was able to get back on the website, they had sold out, and it doesn't look like they're gonna restock. And the only way I can get it is from eBay for $35, and I'm not that invested. I'll get elsewhere, okay? But I wanted it so I could annotate it. And this one was recommended to me by H. I was gonna say there was 2 on this list that are recommended by H, but there's only 1, and it's this one. I'm sorry, H. Becoming a Martyr is not on here. But, yeah, I read it in my Gay Pride Month reading vlog. Basically, I think it was, like, in May, I was messaging H, and I was talking about how I was thinking about doing a Pride Month reading vlog. And H was just, like, giving me recommendations. And, one of them, which is the one that I did use, hear me out, was Girl Serpent Thorn for bi representation. Listen, I talked about it in the surprise video, but basically I don't know what I was expecting, but hear me out, hell yes. The stuff about being viewed as a monster and loneliness and being taken advantage of because of this loneliness that everyone basically puts upon her, and then acts surprised when she gets taken advantage of because of it, and then learning how she's different became because of someone else's decisions, and because she's viewed as this monster because of decisions other people have made for her. And also, you know, sometimes you just want to kiss a fairy person, okay? Yeah, it was beautiful and gay, and I loved it. Speaking of beautiful and gay, and I loved it, and also that was in the Pride Month reading vlog. Is the other Arthurian one, kind of Arthurian. So this is Ever After by F.T. Lukens. Thank you, Watch, for telling me I've walked the step goal, would have never guessed from me sitting here. How to tell I articulate with my hands too much. But I had read an F.T. Lukens before. I forget the name of it. The mermaid one, the one that's a mermaid and a prince with fire magic, so it was basically Shark Boy and Lava Girl, but gay, and also pirates. Right? Into Deeper Waters, I think that's what it was called. I read that December of last year. So when I heard that F.T. Lukens was coming out with a new gay book, they also had bi representation, with male romance at center. And then I learned that it was Arthurian. Yeah, I may have bought it as soon as it came out, and I'm happy with that. This made me laugh so much. It was so good. The character relationships were definitely there. Also just the way F.D. Lukens writes the comedy in these like fighting big battle scenes is so it for me. And yeah, it was a good time. I really liked it. And you know, it was just, I don't know what else to say. It was a fun time and I really enjoyed it. Okay. And then we get another romance, yay, which is Twice Shy, that I read in the Yellow Monochromatic reading vlog. It has like really low ratings on Goodreads. I don't even know if I want to read the other Sarah Hogel. That's the author. I think it's called You Deserve Each Other, because a lot of people prefer that one to this one, but it also has low ratings. Hear me out. I loved this book. It took me a bit to get into it, okay? But once I got into it, I was taken, okay? The romance, yes. The way that this dead great niece was like, or dead great aunt was basically controlling things from beyond the grave to make it so they could be a couple, because she understood that they are the perfect people for each other. They just need to realize that, and so give them the perfect opportunity to do that. How they do things for each other to show that they care for each other, and it's beautiful. I really liked it. I get that some people really don't like how the main character never really stands up for herself. Like, she has this moment where she could go in, like in your typical rom-com type situation, go in and stand up for herself and do this whole thing, but she decides to stand up for herself in a different way, and I much prefer that. Hear me out. And also, it's like, she's a very anxious person. She's not the type of person to go in and purposely talk to the boss that she for the job that she quit from months ago, to go in and be like, hey, you treat me like crap. She's not that type of person, but she is the type of person to finally like take the moment to tell someone else that the way she treated her was very wrong, and they need to think about what they've done. But also be very anxious at the same time. Like, the way people wanted the main character to be, and how they wanted her to act at the end does not seem achievable for me, for this person with this level of anxiety. Hear me out. I was very worried about it, but yeah, no, it was a good time. I really liked it. And then there's from the Retrying DNF's reading vlog, The Book Thief. I cried so much, and we don't need to talk about it. I can't believe I just finally read that book. Like, seriously. In my defense, it was not my choosing that put it down, okay? But yeah, no, it's good. The narration style, with it being Death telling the story, both from the future, about like the way it works, hell yeah. The way it would tell you that something was gonna happen, and you can basically guess what's gonna happen, and you're just like, okay. And then still, when the thing happens that Death is talking about, I was crying. Also, I looked at my highlights from it last night, and yeah. Also, Death is kind of funny in this book, so a lot of these books have like a weird sense of humor, and you know, that's how you know I like it. Honestly, the real surprise is that I liked a historical fiction that takes place during either one of the World Wars. I do not like World War setting books. They are very much not my thing. So I was very surprised. I like this for that reason, but you know, we don't need to talk about it. We're just gonna count it as the outlier, and thank the way that the narration style for that, because that really made the book for me. And then the next two are from reading Dion's favorites. The first one being Kings of the Wild, which is one that Dion bought me for my birthday. It may be the wrong edition. Apparently she got me an edition that's not supposed to be floppy, but it felt floppy. But I had a good time. Like, I was like sitting in bed like this for basically a whole day listening to the audiobook while reading, and it didn't hurt the spine at all. So we love that. We love this. Hear me out. The comedy. Are we catching the theme? Are we catching the theme? Yeah, this is the first adult fantasy I have full-heartedly been on board for. Like, I've read a few Brandon Sandersons this year, and I've liked all of them, and I've really enjoyed 2 of them. But this one blew both of them out of the park, because it's so good, okay? It's so good. The comedy, I swear I was having a heart attack, with the bridge scene. If you know, you know. It was a good time. It was emotional at moments. And you know, sometimes you just really want to read about 40-year-old men killing people, to save one girl. Okay. It actually kind of reminds me of my favorite D&D podcast. So, you know, it kind of makes sense for me to really enjoy it. They're very similar. So, but, yeah, really like this one. And then, Jane Eyre, which is one that's been on my shelves for multiple years, but I know this is Dion's favorite classic, and I picked it up for Dion month, just for Dion, and then I read it in a day accidentally. Sometimes it also has comedic moments. Hear me out. I mean, every time I think about this book, I think of this one scene that Dion always brings up, where what's his name? Rochester. There we go. I was thinking Rothburn, so it was kind of close. Rochester asks Jane if she thinks he's attractive, and she basically just says no. Like, top tier. But basically reading this book about how this woman goes from being emotionally and sometimes physically, and definitely verbally abused in this household, just because she's an orphan, to then be sent away to a place that finally makes her happy, to then almost lose it, to then finally like have friends, a life that she enjoys, to then almost lose it again, and eventually grows up and then ends up at a place where she can do good work and live the life she wants to live, to find a man who gives her the attention she never got as a child. And then things happen there with his past, and yeah, hear me out. Also the part at the end with the secret family members, and I was like, wait a second, what are the chances that they're the same John? Fun fact, they're the same John. I think his name's John anyways. I assume it is, okay? Maybe it's Tom. One of the two. But yeah, no, this was great. Definitely more of a character-driven book, but yeah, it's good. I really loved it. Kind of have to reread Pride and Prejudice to see which one's my favorite classic, because currently it's labeled as higher rating than Pride and Prejudice, which is at a 4. But, yeah, that one's kind of still gonna be labeled as my favorite classic until I reread it and I can, like, compare. Though they're definitely very different types of classics. Hear me out. But yes, I'm happy I read it, and I had a good time. Unexpected good time. And now I've been talking for over half an hour, which means approximately 3 minutes per book. And we can just stop. That was the 10th one. I can turn off the iPad and say thank you for coming to this video. I probably have to go refill the wood furnace again. It's hot sec. So I'm gonna go and tell you the next video that should go up should be the reading holiday romances. Thank you, stomach. But also the next one in this like trilogy of end of the year videos is gonna be the 23 books to read in 2023. So next year I can do one where I look back at it. Yay, so exciting. But yes, that is it. Again, all the videos mentioned that these books were in are up above in the cards. Linked below in the description is all my social media, including my Goodreads, Storygraph, and Instagram. I do reviews on all of them, but I haven't really done them in December because not enough time. Too much work, not enough time. And that's fine. But on Instagram, I still do stories with the favorites of my month, obviously. Also book trackers on there, and I also do quick little stories with like the star rating and maybe a sentence or two about books I'm reading for reading vlogs. So if you want to know ahead of time, you can go there. And if you want to stay up to date with what I'm reading overall, Goodreads is the way to go. And yeah, that is it. Thank you for coming. I think I meant to say like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one.